Later, when I was 16, I went through a phase where I became a pretty troublesome teenager. I loved drinking, smoking, and hanging out doing nothing with my friends. At that time I quit school, and we basically lived from party to party. Especially because a friend of mine, Julian, inherited an old pickup truck, and we used it to go out anywhere, sometimes even to nearby towns. In one of those towns we met a friend who was older than us by several years. He told us about a place that was supposed to be great for drinking and having fun. It was deep in the forest, far from everything. It was the remains of a big old country house, eaten away by time, no roof anymore, no windows, and covered in vines that had taken over every wall. The three of us, along with two girls, decided to go. We were all really excited to see the place. We got there by a narrow path that was sometimes cut off, until we reached the house about half an hour from the town. "Hey," Julian said, pointing in the opposite direction from where we had come, "it's like 3 kilometers from here to the house." We were in the middle of the forest, halfway between the town where Julian and I lived and the town where our friends were. We went into the house, still a little unsure and on edge, expecting something to happen. The girls climbed up to the second floor without hesitation, while we pulled out some beers from the cooler. "There's people here," one of the girls said from upstairs. We ran up fast, afraid we'd find someone dangerous. But instead we found one of them holding a gym bag. The bag looked fairly new. There was more on the second floor too, clothes scattered around. The other girl leaned her head out of a window, hiding like she was trying to stay unnoticed. We cautiously looked around behind her and saw lights, several bonfires arranged in a way that made a shape among the trees. I remember it as a pentagram, but I can't guarantee it really was. What I can be sure of is this: dozens of human figures were spread out around the figure formed by those bonfires. In the center, a man was directing what looked like a Gregorian chant. I'd be lying if I told you I understood what kind of thing that song was. Then someone ran down the stairs toward the first floor. When we turned, we realized it wasn't any of us, so we panicked. And then we saw a small, almost childlike figure running from the lower part of the house toward the bonfires. We were going to warn them, something was said, and the figures turned toward us. They started running toward the house. We flew down the stairs, running back out, then straight to the pickup. We forgot about the beers and everything we'd brought. Julian and I jumped into the back of the truck. In the darkness of the trees, we saw figures charging at us, wearing what looked like red robes. When the truck accelerated and we began to drive away, I felt like my soul was coming out of my body. I think the fear sobered me up. Maybe that fright broke the habit of drinking so often. To this day, I sometimes run into Julian when I visit my parents in town, and we always end up talking about that night. The legends that people still repeat around here, the ones that never really die. From time to time, someone gets lost in the forest. People still claim they've seen witches on certain days of the month. Not long ago, 2 children disappeared and were never found. Who knows what's true? Who knows how much imagination people have? And who knows what those crazy things we ran into out there in the forest that night had to do with any of it? The nights here in the capital are quieter, even with all the noise and people. But the nights back in my town feel different, much more mysterious.